Well met, adventurer. Today I want to talk about those greater potions of unnatural strength that you can sometimes find being brewed in the seedier magical apothecaries and alchemical shops. Oh, no, not this. This is just coffee in an excellent mug that I purchased at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I'm talking about steroids. Now, as a natural, you may not think that this topic bears much weight for you, but you see, I disagree, because ultimately this is one of those important questions that separates the bro mages from the warriors of the light. And frankly, whether you stick a needle in your ass or not, it's still a choice that you're going to have to make sooner or later, and it's important to me that you be able to distinguish between the two. I'm Mulatto Rants, this is Muscle and Magicka, and you, my friend, just accepted a quest. Now, this video is not about the ethics of steroid use, whether I think it's a good idea or a bad idea, whether I recommend or endorse it, which, by the way, I do not. This is simply one paladin's humble opinion on how best to pursue honesty, even when you've chosen a path that actively discourages honesty. Option number one, you just admit that you're using gear. And while I have a great amount of respect for anyone that chooses this option, I also realize that it's usually not entirely feasible. Steroids are kind of like necromancy, illegal in most places, and even where they're not completely banned, they're still highly frowned upon, not to mention the fact that oftentimes where you find steroid use, you find it tied to financial gain which would obviously go straight out the window immediately upon admission of steroid use. On top of that, it seems like cheating to me. I mean, you summon a pet, you got him up there doing all the work while you're standing back in the shadows casting spells from afar. I'm sorry, we're talking about steroids, not necromancy. Look, bottom line is, as much as I would like to think that I would stand for option number one and take the higher path, hypothetically speaking, if I were using gear, I'm not so sure that I would. And before that's somehow misconstrued as an admission of steroid use.
Stop right there, criminals.
Or you got option number two. Now, this is where you claim to be 100% natural. And again, I don't want to arbitrarily demonize everyone who chooses this path. The fact is, this is not the world that our mothers told us about growing up. The world where heroes slay dragons and you can achieve anything you want just so long as you believe in yourself. In this world, you have to take steroids. I'm joking, but seriously, as an athlete, it's not all that uncommon to find yourself in a situation where if you really want to follow your dreams, if you want to be at the top of your game, you almost have to accept steroids as a part of that game. And that's not to say that you have to participate yourself, but at the very least, you gotta be prepared for the fact that the guy on your left and the guy on your right, they will be. And it's for that reason that I don't think that taking steroids and claiming to be natural inherently makes you a terrible human being. To be clear, using necromancy still does. But you see, there's a difference between defending yourself and reactively claiming natural on the occasion that someone asks you or accuses you, and proactively screaming it at the top of your lungs across all social media outlets every single chance that you get. And let's take it a step further, claiming that anyone who's natural that doesn't look like you is a weak beta f***. Fortunately, there is a third option, one which I think is highly undervalued and highly underutilized and highly under-recognized, and I'll never forget an interview with Jay Cutler where they were trying to get him to talk about something that he obviously couldn't talk about, and he managed to gracefully and tactfully avoid incriminating himself, whilst simultaneously making the truth of the issue pretty crystal clear for anyone who's paying any amount of attention.
Is there anything in bodybuilding that you consider cheating?
No, I mean, everyone's looking for that edge. You know, there are steroids involved in the sport, okay, in bodybuilding, obviously. And that's the problem with our sport, and that's why it hasn't got accepted by a lot of society, because they look at the bodybuilder and they say, oh, steroids. Mm-hmm. But they don't understand what actually goes into the sport, okay? You do what you do to be the best in what you do. You do what you do to win. If you want to call that cheating, fine, but I have the edge. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm the best.
Now, did you catch that? Did you see how he was incredibly vague and yet incredibly transparent at the same time? Jay Cutler has the edge. Now, in the year of our Lord, 2016, I don't think it's all that difficult to figure out that Jay Cutler is not referring to the edge of his razor-sharp quad sweep, nor is he talking about a retired Canadian wrestler. It also doesn't require the above-average intelligence of an Altmer to determine that many of these half-natty celebrities that you see attributing their progress entirely to genetics aren't being entirely truthful either. But might I suggest that what they're actually doing is opting for option number three. Now, it's still a lie, option number three, or at best a half-truth, and I'm not trying to get around that, but consider this, it's a lie that encourages the young, inexperienced, natural warriors that look up to them not to go into the gym expecting their hard work to get them the exact same results, or to be disappointed if and when it doesn't. Look, the best way to spot a bro mage, in my opinion, and as the one who coined the term, I should think that my opinion would hold some weight. The best way to spot a bro mage is just to line things up so that your bicep curls intersect with spotting them on the bench press. That's a little bit of gym humor for you. The best way to spot a bro mage is by his single-minded concern only for himself and his utter disregard for anyone else. No matter how many people injure themselves following his piss-poor nutrition and training advice, which, by the way, he only gets away with due to his injecting of androgynous hormones, he simply continues to step over the bodies, one by one. He barely even notices that they're there. As long as he's getting his money or his accolades, that's all that matters to him. A warrior of light, on the other hand, actually cares about the men under him, the people who look up to him. Perhaps even more than he cares about himself, which is why you will never find him misleading them or putting them in unnecessary jeopardy or encouraging them to do anything for which they are ill-equipped. And so it is that I would like to leave you with the best answer that I think I have ever seen given to this particular question, given by a true paragon of this concept, a real warrior of the light, although I suspect that he would probably be less than thrilled with that title.
How did you acquire this new strength? Enlighten me.
I do a lot of push-ups and sit-ups, and I drink plenty of juice.
Alright, listen up, knights. I still think you're a bunch of nerds and that the name Muscle and Magicka sounds more like a pornographic website. But you better like the video and subscribe to the channel anyway. At the very least, this Mulatto Rance character seems to be able to recognize a true warrior when he sees one. On top of that, judging from his hairline, it looks like he shares the blood of Saiyan royalty. Strange. I don't remember having any brothers. What?